This Jalen Hurts versus Cam Newton conversation has got out of control online. I mean, we're at a point where people are trying to discredit one or the other for basically just being a good quarterback. They're both good quarterbacks, and people are going out of their way to prove that either one of them is terrible. When, if you really want to be honest about this whole situation, we should be having this conversation about media literacy. Because this is a conversation about media literacy. This is not a conversation about if Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback or if Cam Newton was a good quarterback or one of them was better than the other. Cam Newton is very clearly trying to engagement farm from this statement. I mean, recently in the last couple of weeks, he said because of how good of the roster Jalen Hurts has, he can't put him at top 10. When right after the Super Bowl, he said Jalen Hurts is elite. It's like he's not staying consistent with what he's saying. He's saying whatever because he knows that Eagles fans get perturbed, which I'm an Eagles fan. There it is. I love us, but y'all need to stop falling for every single bit of bait that is put out online. People are going to talk mess about Jalen. They're going to talk mess about us. They're going to talk mess about all this. It's all for engagement because they know that the best way to engage Eagles fans is to talk mess about them. Just like how they knew the best way to engage Cowboys fans, which is one of the biggest markets, was to praise them consistently. That's starting to fade away a little bit because Cowboys fans seem to be waking up a bit. But that is the goal. Like, they're all just engaged. They're engagement farming for their content. That's it. Cam Newton said this on his podcast, 4th and 1. He said this on his podcast saying that about Jalen when he said not but 3-4 months ago the exact opposite.
My thing, and still what I've always said is it's not set up for Jalen Hurts to have those type of dynamic numbers.
Yeah.
But if you're asking him to perform at a high level, he's not picked up that phone and said, okay, I can perform. Because we've seen it. Bearing him with top tier quarterbacks, what does his statistics look like versus those guys? And that's what we have to just be honest with. So does this put him in elite status? I think so. I think so. And it's not because of his overall body of work. It's game by game body of work. I don't think nobody wants to see a Jalen Hurts or play against him.
Yeah, they wouldn't just choose that team.
You know what I'm saying? And I've been extremely, analytical about who Jalen Hurts is. Calling him a game manager, calling him, a person is he top 10?
And he's so consistent, though.
He's a guy who plays within himself, and the way he plays is not what we're used to seeing.
Right.
And I can relate to that.
And he's sure of himself.
I can relate to that because for so many times in my career, having 200 yards, 215 yards, to some, you're not going to lead the league in passing yards.
Yeah.
But I pick it up, too, by having 65 yards rushing.
Editor DJ here. So if you notice, he literally compares himself and his game to Jalen Hurts, which is very similar to how Jalen Hurts plays right now. It's almost as if he knows that they're similar, but he changed his opinion for content. Anyway, moving on. Literally on the same podcast that he then, or a couple weeks later after Ryan Clark called him out, and he went online to talk mess about Ryan Clark, or went on his podcast to talk mess about Ryan Clark. He on the same podcast that he talked mess about Ryan Clark, he then talked about how he's trying to get a game day style show or a Pat McAfee style show for HBCUs. This man is trying to farm content to prove that he can make content for ESPN. Like, that is, it's so obvious that that's what he's doing, that you, like, Eagles fans, stop falling for it. Jalen haters, stop falling for it. You don't like Jalen Hurts? Don't talk about him. Who cares? You think Jalen Hurts is the greatest quarterback? Stop arguing with people online about whether he is or not. Like, it's the stupidest thing in the world. He is a Super Bowl champion. We already know that he can win us a Super Bowl. We already know that he's good enough to do that the team they have is good enough. So why are we arguing with random people online? Why are we getting outraged and enraged when Cam Newton, who hasn't played football in multiple years, and his last 4 years of his career were terrible. Like, stop. Cam Newton has earned the right to talk the way he wants to about it, but at the same time, he is very clearly farming engagement, and so is Ryan Clark for that matter. And then now he's on Pivot, on Ryan Clark's podcast Pivot, talking about how he doesn't feel a way about Cam Newton. Like, this is all content. They understand it's all content. As a person who's literally making content right now, it's all like everything is content. They don't care whether they're saying the right thing or saying they're actually thinking about it from an analytical standpoint. They don't care. They could give two craps about that. And people are they're online and they want to prove that they're the smartest person in the world so much. And they want to prove that our team is the best, which they already proved it. We don't need to prove that, by the way, Eagles fans. We don't need to prove anything. They've already did it. They did it. They won a Super Bowl.
Editor DJ back again. I have nothing really to say here. I just wanted to show you those rings, just letting you know, just reminding everyone. Them dang's pretty, ain't they? Look at them wings. Anyway, Eagles are champs. Go Birds.
All right. They're probably good enough to win another one this year too, even though it's very hard. I'm not going to make any statements. But at the same time, I can see it happening. Just let these people farm engagement and ignore the conversation. Because honestly, you're making us look bad, Eagles fans. You're making Jalen haters look bad, because now every single person online who might have an actual good argument for why Jalen is not a top 10 quarterback or is not a top 5 quarterback, now it's immediately they're a hater. It's like, no, there are good arguments for it. There are good arguments to have about Josh Allen not being top 5. Like, there's good arguments for all of it, all right? But at the end of the day, all of this is stupid because we're arguing about two different quarterbacks that played in two different eras, right? That are doing completely different things and have certain things for them, right? It afforded to them on their team. This idea that Cam Newton played with nobody is a lie. Like, he had 10 Pro Bowlers on his team. He had multiple Pro Bowlers. Yes, his wide receivers weren't as good as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but he had Greg Olsen, who was a top 5 tight end in the time that he was there. He also had one of the best O-lines in football for pretty much most of his career until he started getting hurt, and they all started getting hurt. And he had a top 5 defense consistently every single year that he played. So it's just like, what are we doing? Like, we're just trying to find ways to undermine Jalen. We're trying to find ways to undermine Cam to prove that Jalen's better. It's like, no. Jalen is also, I love Jalen, but he's also his year wasn't as good as Cam's MVP year. But at the same time, if you look at the years and compare them, it's pretty comparable when you look at both of them. All right, through 4 seasons, they both have about 14,000 yards. They have about the same amount of rushing touchdowns. It's very comparable. We're basically arguing nothing, and you're just online getting rage bait. That's the whole point. Every time you guys get frustrated at something that somebody says, how many times are you going to watch the clip? How many times are you going to share the clip to talk mess about it? How many times are you going to like or dislike other people to talk mess about that clip? It's just farming engagement. For this man to prove that he can actually farm engagement. For Cam Newton to prove that he can do that, and that's why you should buy my show. That's the whole point. It's the same thing RC is doing. Same thing most of these guys are doing, especially the ones who have their own podcasts. They're all just trying to prove that they're worth signing to a larger contract by farming engagement. Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback right now, at least. In my opinion, top 5, but top 10, he should at least be top 10. There shouldn't be an argument about it anymore. There shouldn't be frustration about it if somebody disagrees, because who cares? He's already proved it. He's got the ring.
One more time for the one time. The rings is gorgeous. Go Birds.
He's got the Super Bowl MVP. There's nothing for us to be arguing about. He's already proven that he can win a Super Bowl with him. We're not going to get frustrated every time he throws an interception. We're not going to get frustrated when he takes a sack. It's stupid at this point because we already know what he is. We know what Cam was. to keep arguing about it is just a waste of time. Eagles fans, stop getting baited into these arguments because you're making us look bad, and you're also like writing checks that Jalen might not be able to cash. And then on top of that, Jalen haters, stop it because you look stupid. At this point, to still be hating on Jalen at this point is crazy. He got a new Sprite commercial. Come on, man. Like, if you can't see that he's one of the faces of the league at this point, they put him in the commercial for flag football last year too. Like, if you can't see that he's one of the faces of the league at this point, then you are just a hater and you need to stop. Like, it's just there's other things you could be doing, man. You could just be watching your quarterback's highlights and just enjoying that. You could watch wrestling. You could write a book. You could go for a run. I don't know, anything but wasting time on the internet. You look foolish. It's annoying. Anyway, that's what I had to say about it. Let's talk about it.